In this tutorial, we'll be learning how to import data from a SQL Server database to Excel using Win32 library in Python. So this is going to be a method that I personally think is going to be much faster and more memory efficient if you want to create an automation script to import data from a SQL Server database into Excel. Right, so here in my SQL Server, I wrote a very simple query. Basically, this query will fetch the first 1000 records where the license status is equals to inactive from this NYC legally operating business table. And it's going to be the query that I'll be executing in Python to export the data set into Excel. Alright, so here let me go into my VS Code. And first thing first, I'm going to import my library. So I'm going to type import win32com.client. I'm going to name this as win32 and increase the font size. And if you don't have the library installed, you can use the command pip install win32. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an instance of the Excel application. So from win32.dispatch, we're going to insert Excel application's name. And it's going to be Excel.application. And at this point, we're basically working with the Excel application object. So we can set the visibility to true. We can create a new instance of the Excel workbook. And it's going to be Excel app.workbooks.add. And if you want to use an existing Excel workbook, then you can change the statement from Excel app.workbooks. Instead of using add, we will use open, followed by providing the Excel workbook file path. But for this exercise, I'm going to create a new instance of the Excel workbook. Alright, so let's see, let's do this. I'm going to run this code block first. And I'm going to show you the statements line by line. Alright, so at this point, let me insert notes. Create an Excel workbook. And I'll put the Excel workbook and VS Code side by side. Right, so here I'm going to create a function, and this function is going to connect to my SQL Server database. And it's going to return a connection object, which is going to be the reference tied to my SQL Server database connection. And this function takes a server name and database name. Inside the function, I'm going to insert another function, and it's going to be a private function. And I'll name the function connection string. And this private function takes a parameter called database name. And essentially, we're going to pass this database name argument to the connection string function's database argument. And inside the connection string function, I'm going to create a variable called connection string. And I'll convert this to fstring. And it's going to be the connection string that we need to provide to specify a database's information so we can connect to a database, basically. Alright, so the first thing we're going to provide is we need to specify the provider. And for Windows operation system, I'm going to use msdasql.1. Then we need to specify the driver, and it's going to be SQL Server. And we need to wrap the driver name with a set of curly brackets. Next is the server name. followed by database name. If we're connecting to a database with a username and a password, then we need to insert two more properties. You'll need to insert UID for username and PWD for password. And since my account is integrated with my operation system, I don't need to provide username or password. And this function is going to return the connection string. Alright, so here let's construct the connection string using the private connection string function. And we're going to pass the database name argument. Then I'm going to insert a try except block to capture any error that happens. And here I'm going to simply erase the exception. I'll print the error message. Now going back to the try block. Here I want to create a connection reference using Win32.dispatch function. And I'm going to use ADODB connection manager. And for Win32, it's going to be ADODB.connection. Then I'll try to open the connection by passing the connection string. I also want to create another function to run my SQL queries. And this function will take a connection object or reference, and as well as the SQL statement. I'll name the parameter SQL query. Alright, so inside the run query function, we're going to create an instance of the record set object. So from Win32.dispatch, we can specify the object type using ADODB.recordSet. And here we can open the record set. And this should be capital O, open. And this one too. So the record set.open method or function takes two required values. The first value is going to be the SQL query or the SQL statement. The second item is going to be the connection reference. And here I want to capture any exception that happens. Right, so those are going to be the two functions that I'm going to create for this Python script. Now let me create the functions. Right, so I'm going to take this chunk of code. I'll move that below the functions. And I need to grab my server name. And another shortcut you can use to grab the server name is by pressing F4 in the SQL Server Management Studio. And that will launch the properties window. And here's the server name as well. Right, so let's see. So I'll create my server name variable here. Now let's go ahead and create the connection reference. I'll name the object connection. And I'll insert the create connection function. I'll provide the server name and the database name. And it's going to be coming from Open Data Database. Then I'm going to create my record set object. And the record set object contains all the records from your SQL query. In this case, it will be these 1,000 records. Alright, so I'm going to copy the SQL statement. Now let's create another variable called SQL query. And I'll copy paste the SQL statement. Alright, so here I'm going to insert the run query function. And I'll pass my connection object in my SQL statement. Alright, so let me go ahead and run this code block. And here I'm getting an error. Arguments are the wrong type. Now let me take a look. So let me create the connection object first. This returns empty. Oh, I know why. I forgot to return the connection object. And here I need to return the record set object. Oh, and it should be here. Alright, so let me try again. So I'm going to run this code block. So this time if I print the connection object, it's going to return, here, let me go back. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but I can see that when I recreate the connection object, it's returning as a com object, adodb.connection object. And this is what I want. And as for the record set, it's going to return as unknown, and that's normal. And to paste the record set into my Excel spreadsheet. So in general, if we use pyodbc library, then we need to insert a loop to paste the record set row by row. But if we're using Win32 library, we can insert the record set in one instance. So let me show you how it's done. Right, so here I'm going to create a new worksheet from the workbook object .worksheets .add, and I'll name the output as WS. We can specify the cell reference where I want to insert the record set. And I want to insert the record set in cell, let's do B2. And I'll use the copy from record set method. And I'll insert record set as the data set. Now if I run these two lines, and it's going to paste the table or the data set in cell B2. But we're still missing the field name or the column name. And we can insert the column name by iterating the field count from the record set object. So I can say for I in range, and the range is going to be record set fields count. And to insert the field name, we can reference the worksheet object cells. And the first parameter is going to be the row index. In Excel, the array base starts from 1. And this is going to be the column index. And because my record set is inserted in column B, so I need to add 2 to my I value value. And we can return the corresponding field name by providing the index number name. And that's it. Alright, so this is going to be the entire script. Now let me close the Excel workbook. And I'll terminate this session. And I'll pause F5 to run the script. And here we have a newly created Excel workbook with a new worksheets added, with the data set paste into my Sheet 2's worksheets in less than 3 seconds. Alright, so this is going to be everything I'm going to cover in this video, and hopefully you guys found this video useful. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.